It was the middle of a long, quiet summer in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, when everything in my life took an unexpected turn. I had just turned 42, and though from the outside my life looked picture perfect, a beautiful home, a steady job, and a blended family, inside, I was crumbling. My name is Melissa Carter. I married my husband, David, 5 years ago after meeting him at a charity fundraiser. He was charming, intelligent, and carried the weight of a recent divorce. His ex-wife had left him suddenly, and he was left to raise his then 13-year-old son, Ryan, alone. When we got married, Ryan was already a teenager, moody and distant. I tried everything to befriend him, to let him know I wasn't trying to replace his mother, but just be a part of his life. He never really let me in. By the time Ryan turned 19 and started college, he had grown into a tall, quiet young man who only came home during breaks. David and I tried to give him space and encouragement. We wanted him to feel supported, but he kept his emotions under lock and key. I often worried he still resented me, though he never voiced it. Last summer, David had to leave on an extended business trip to Singapore. It wasn't uncommon. His job as a corporate strategist often required him to be gone for weeks at a time. I didn't mind, really. I enjoyed the quiet evenings, tending to my garden, reading novels, or catching up on my favorite cooking shows. Ryan was home from school for summer break, and though we mostly kept to our separate routines, we coexisted peacefully in the house. Then came the evening that changed everything. It had been a particularly emotional day. My job as a project manager had become overwhelming, and I was dealing with feelings I didn't quite understand. I felt isolated, emotionally drained, and constantly on edge. That night, I poured myself a glass of red wine and retreated to my room early. I closed the door, wanting nothing more than a little solitude to decompress. In a moment of weakness, I let go of my usual self-discipline and allowed myself to break down. I didn't realize the door wasn't fully shut. Lost in a spiral of my own emotions, I tried to relieve my anxiety in a private, vulnerable way. It wasn't about pleasure, it was about coping, about finding a release from the internal storm. Then I heard the door creak. I looked up and locked eyes with Ryan. He had seen me. For a split second, the world stopped. My heart raced. I covered myself quickly, mortified. His face turned pale, and without a word, he stepped back and shut the door. I sat there frozen, a wave of shame washing over me like cold water. I didn't know how long I sat there, trying to process what had just happened. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I didn't see Ryan at breakfast. His bedroom door was closed. I debated whether to knock or pretend like nothing happened. My hands trembled as I poured my coffee. The silence in the house was deafening. But just when I thought I couldn't face him, he emerged. He stood in the doorway to the kitchen, his hands in his pockets, avoiding eye contact. "Melissa," he said quietly, "can we talk?" I nodded, swallowing hard. He sat across from me, still not looking directly at me. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I didn't mean to walk in. I should have knocked. I didn't expect you to. I didn't want to invade your space." His voice was so sincere it caught me off guard. I shook my head. "You don't need to apologize, Ryan. It was my fault. I should have made sure the door was closed."
He finally looked at me.
"Are you okay?" His question threw me off even more. Not just because it was unexpected, but because it was filled with genuine concern. I opened my mouth but couldn't speak. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I tried to blink them away. "No," I whispered. "Not really." That conversation became the turning point. Over the next few days, something shifted between us. It wasn't spoken aloud, but it was there. Ryan started joining me for coffee in the mornings. He helped in the garden, offered to cook dinner, and asked about my work. Slowly, the walls between us started to crumble. One evening, we sat on the back porch, watching the sun dip below the trees. "I never really knew how to talk to you," Ryan said quietly. "After Mom left, I shut down. And then you came along, and I didn't know how to accept it." "I didn't know how to be in your life either," I replied. "I tried, but I never wanted to force myself into a space where I wasn't welcome." He nodded. "That night, I realized you were human. You were hurting. I always thought you had it together, like you didn't need anyone.
His honesty broke me.
I wiped a tear from my cheek and smiled. I guess we've both been hiding. From that night on, we became something we had never been before, friends. We talked more openly, shared parts of our lives we had kept hidden. He told me about his anxiety at school, his fear of failure, and his uncertainty about the future. I opened up about my marriage, my fear of being unwanted, and the loneliness I often felt. We began to lean on each other in small ways. He'd leave me little notes of encouragement in the kitchen. I'd bake his favorite cookies when he was feeling down. It was as if, for the first time, we saw each other, not as stepmother and stepson, but as two flawed, vulnerable people trying to navigate life. When David returned from Singapore, he noticed the change immediately. "You two seem close," he said one evening as we were clearing dishes. I glanced at Ryan, who smiled. "We had a good summer," he said simply. It wasn't until weeks later, as Ryan packed to return to college, that he hugged me tightly and whispered, "Thank you for letting me see you, the real you." That moment stayed with me. Not because of the awkward incident that started it, but because of the healing that came after. Sometimes, the most uncomfortable, unexpected moments become the doorway to genuine connection. We both discovered strength through vulnerability. Now, a year later, Ryan and I still talk weekly. Our bond has grown deeper, rooted in trust and understanding. He even calls me Mel, now, a nickname he used to mock but now says with affection. Life isn't perfect, but it's real. And I've learned that healing doesn't always come in the form we expect. It often arrives in the form of honest conversations, second chances, and the bravery to face what's broken. Ryan didn't just see me in a moment of weakness. He helped me find strength in it. And for that, I'll always be grateful.